It's the first video of the month, so you all know what that means. It's time to look at some new figures. Hello there, welcome back to the channel. I am Grand Moff Tony. Well, April is underway, so it is time once more to look back at the new figures added to the collection last month. It's time for Fine Additions.
Fine addition to my collection.
Yes, welcome to the Fine Additions of March. I always look forward to these videos. It's really fun to look back at figures that I picked up over the month. Even when I didn't particularly find a lot, it's just fun to have a closer look at the additions to the collection. Before I get into my Fine Additions for the month, a little bit of housekeeping. A couple of weeks ago, we did something a little different. We did a very, very long video on the nature of the Black Series aftermarket, and that video has done incredibly well. The response has been fantastic, and I really, really appreciate that. A lot of work and a lot of research went into getting that video together, and just seeing the response to it has been very, very validating indeed. Now, this by no means implies that I'm going to start dropping half-hour videos every other week. No, it's very reassuring as a content creator that the same audience that'll show up for a 10-minute top 5 list or a 15-minute toy hunt will also show up and listen to me waffle on about toys for nearly half an hour. As I say, it's just very validating as a content creator to know that I can branch out, I can do these different things, and we can experiment with longer form videos if there's a topic out there that I think we need to talk about for that kind of length. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for showing up to my little corner of the internet, and thank you so much for the support and response that we've received. But let's get into the good stuff. Let's get into the Fine Additions for the month. Now, way back at the start of the month, a lot of people showed up for our special international toy hunt, where we took a trip over the bridge into Canada to revisit Toys R Us and hit a few more toy stores on the way while we were there. And the first figure that we picked up on that trip was the comic variant Princess Leia. This is an absolutely fantastic figure. I think it is absolutely brilliant. I love this look for Leia. I love this reuse of the Bespin body with Padme's shawl. It's very thematically appropriate, and it really fits into the comic issue that this comes from, where Leia returns to Naboo and experiences the planet that her mother came from, and has that chilling moment in the hangar doorway where she senses the presence of Darth Maul. It just really ties the universe together, and it is executed fantastically in this figure. It's another great Leia head sculpt. The hair is incredible. I just love all these details. They come together so well. Now, I'm a die-hard Hoth Leia fan, but this one, when my Hoth Leia figure's not looking, I tell this one it's my favorite. And I'm pretty sure I would have to check, but I think Princess Leia has just overtaken Luke Skywalker for the character that I have the most figures of in my collection. And to me, that's a good thing. I love Princess Leia. I will take as many Princess Leias as I can get my hands on. So, comic variant Leia, welcome to the collection. In the very same game shop that I found Princess Leia, I also walked away with this. This is the Jon Favreau variant of Paz Vizsla. Now, I missed out on the original of this figure when it came out, and I believe the Basement Boys have just made it a Black Series banger, and getting this variant in my hand, I can definitely agree. The engineering is next level. The paint apps are incredible, and he's so bulky and so impressive. And the fact that he can wield this massive repeating cannon like it's a regular old blaster, it just makes for such a satisfying figure. Something about the way that Mandalorian armor comes out in the Black Series just always lets you know you're going to have a really good time every time one of these figures comes out. And it really goes without saying at this point, but the likeness to Jon Favreau on this head sculpt is damn near perfection. I absolutely adore it. I didn't really think I was going to get into these creators of Star Wars figures, but I picked up that George Lucas a few months back. I've added this one to my collection now. Really, it just inspires me to get out on the hunt and try and track down that Filoni figure, just to complete the triumvirate. In the meantime, Jon Favreau, welcome to my Black Series collection. Now, some of my more regular viewers may remember a small toy hunt we did a couple of months back where we hit every Walmart within a very reasonable distance of our house in search of the Walmart exclusive deluxe Tython Jedi Ruins Boba Fett. And we came up bust. We had no luck finding him. I can't remember exactly how many Walmarts we hit, but it was definitely 8 or 9. Well, lo and behold, 2 Walmarts into our Canada trip. Guess who we found? It's Boba Fett. I am absolutely in love with this figure. It has been standing on my coffee table since I got it, and I have not been able to leave it alone. It is so cool. As big of a fan as I am of the Throne Room Boba Fett figure, I just think that the extra bit of damage and wear and tear on this armor just takes it to the next level. I think it is fantastic, and it really ties me back into that scene from Mandalorian Season 2 where Boba Fett came back with a vengeance, and as someone who never really cared for the Boba Fett character back in the day, that scene changed my mind in a heartbeat. It's so different to go from people talking about this unseen reputation, the reputation that was in the Legends books that I never really got into, but actually seeing it firsthand on screen took my breath away. And really, it is perfectly translated into this figure. The detail on the armor is next level. The posability, obviously, it matches the articulation of the Throne Room Boba, which is technically just a repaint of this figure, but for some reason, it just works so well. You can put him in so many exciting fight poses, which really, with Temuera Morrison playing Boba Fett, that's what you want. That's what you want for that figure. I knew this was going to be a figure that I was going to love. That's why I looked for it so passionately. That's why I spent so many times going into so many Walmarts and coming away with so many looks of disappointment on my face when he wasn't there. When I saw him on that shelf, and on a clearance shelf of all places, I was not going to leave him there. He was coming home with me. Welcome to my collection at last. Moving away from the Canada trip now into more sort of the middle of the month, something that I've talked about recently on the channel is that I have a list of rules when it comes to my Black Series collecting that help me kind of regulate the amount of money that I'm spending and the amount of money that I'm spending on certain figures. And one of those rules was that I've decided that since retail price has continued to increase, I've decided that I am backing off from paying retail for Troopers. And obviously, GameStop heard me, because I'm sure you were aware, earlier in the month there was a massive GameStop sale on all of their exclusives, which meant that I was able to get a staggering $8.30 off of the Imperial Rocket Launcher Trooper from Jedi Fallen Order. Now, as much as I hate these guys in the game, because they always seem to get one more rocket off at you before you get to them, I adore this figure. It's the 2020 Stormtrooper body, so it is possibly the best trooper body out there. He has a pauldron, which means that if you're not super fond of the Rocket Trooper, you can just make this a Stormtrooper Commander or whatever you like and give the rocket launcher to someone like the 501st Jet Trooper, for instance. But something that I am very, very grateful for is that they stayed away from putting weathering on this guy. I think he looks great in this shining, clean armor. It really gives off the impression of the Empire at the height of their power. These troopers, they probably haven't even seen action. They're just wearing this armor and it looks so shiny and clean. And of course, I have to give massive props to this giant accessory. What a rocket launcher. It looks incredible. And even though you'd think it would cause you several problems when it comes to posing this guy, really, it's like butter. The whole thing just comes together so well. So yeah, I may have decided recently that I'm not prepared to drop modern day retail prices on Troopers, but when I see an opportunity to grab a figure like this at a bargain, you bet I'm gonna pick it up. So the Imperial Rocket Launcher Trooper is a fine addition to my collection indeed. Now we're gonna cheat a little bit here because I've done it before, so I feel like I can get away with it. This month I also slapped a pre-order on Clone Commander Jesse. I mentioned him in my aftermarket video when I was talking about how you could use the factors that I brought up to predict what was gonna happen with a Black Series figure. So obviously, with it being Walmart, I'm expecting a disaster, but I'm kind of hoping for the best but expecting the worst. Thanks to the timely intervention of Yakface and their incredibly useful links, I was able to secure my pre-order from Walmart.com. It is scheduled to ship in June or July, one of the J months, but I will be sitting here patiently waiting for him to arrive. And finally, rounding out the month of March, on a random visit to GameStop, I was able to grab Scorch. A character that I still have mixed feelings about from the Bad Batch finale, and if you've seen it, you know why. If you haven't, why haven't you seen it yet? Get on that. But in spite of this, adding Scorch to my collection and finishing off Delta Squad is incredibly satisfying. Obviously, I've made my feelings known on using the Hunter body for the Clone Commanders. I've been a strong advocate for it since the beginning, so it doesn't really bother me, because this body offers such a wide range of militant articulation. You can get him into pretty much any pose you could possibly want, and nothing is more satisfying to me than having the entire squad fully assembled on my bookcase. It just brings me so much joy. I kind of remember back in the day when the Red Line was still coming out, and the amount of time it took us to get the full squad of the Rogue One team or the full Phoenix team, and now they're just sort of knocking out teams left and right. We're getting all of them in such quick succession, and we're not being forced to sit there and look at like one or two members of a team while we patiently wait for the rest of them to come out. And really, they went all out on Scorch. The paintwork is fantastic. The way this grey really counters against the sort of mustard yellow colour, it just looks fantastic, and I absolutely love it. Delta Squad are fully assembled and ready to go. Welcome to my collection, Scorch. So those were the fine additions to my collection from the month of March. Quite similarly to February, it's a slightly slower month than when you were around sort of Christmas time, but that's mostly because we're building up to a trip to the UK in May, and I'm trying to keep as much of my toy fund available as possible so I can go on a proper toy hunt when we get to the UK. With that said, there probably won't be a toy hunt video this month just because we are really knuckling down and budgeting hard for that trip to make sure that we can absolutely make the best of it while we're there. But that's not to say that April's gonna go without some fine additions, because I have already picked up one or two because I'm really bad at budgeting. So those were my fine additions. How about you? What did you pick up this month? Did you get a really stellar addition to your collection this month? I'm always interested to hear, so let me know down below in the comments. And join us next week where we'll be talking about 5 characters from the Bad Batch that I need to see come to the Black Series. Needless to say, the list that I wrote before Season 2 started has received 1 or 2 amendments since Season 2 has aired, so be sure to tune in for that. In the meantime though, I've been Grand Moff Tony. Those were March's fine additions. You may subscribe when ready. I would... Well, that was unexpected. It's never happened.